Arson is a very serious crime, and when arson does take place, it should always be taken seriously. It should never be a joke to anybody that is dealing with arson. A lot of times, arson is looked at as destroying and burning one's property, such as a house, a home, an apartment, an organization, a building. Arson is much more than that. Arson can also be considered arson if fire is set to motor vehicles. Any such a motor vehicle, a car, a motorcycle, a truck, anything motor, as well as setting fire in the forest. That is also considered arson when someone does that. Before statutory law existed, courts defined arson at common law as a crime against habitation. 5 elements had to be present in order for arson to be considered arson back then. Those 5 elements that had to be presented were intent and or malice, actual burning of property, dwelling or surrounding structures were burnt, property burned belonged to someone other than the arsonist, and it occurred during night. Now, all acts that have intention of burning any property is considered arson, which also includes during the daytime. Arson can happen at night, arson can happen during the day, arson can happen in the evening. Any time, any day, a fire is set is considered arson because somebody is considering to do harm to another person intentionally and willfully. Mens rea plays a part in it as well, which is malice and willful conduct to cause harm is included. So there's harm in arson, which is included in mens rea. Mens rea takes a toll or takes a big part of arson because of what it means. Arson is a crime because of the damage and risk of injuries it causes. Arson is dealing with fire. When fire occurs, there is always a huge problem because of the damage and the risk it can do to people and to their properties. If somebody is caught in a fire when somebody sets fire to their home, that can also be charged as another punishment that would go along with the arson charge because you are now doing something to an actual person rather than just their property. Burning one's property is wrong, and just because one has malice towards another person does not give them the right to burn and destroy their property. No matter how mad, how upset you are at somebody, you just do not go out and set fire to their property, to their home, to their car, nothing. It is not right, and it never will be. Depending on the damage, punishments can vary. So depending on what happened, where it took place, and the property that was destroyed will be all included in evidence, so that way the punishment will be considered off of that. If damage listed or heritage buildings or emergency property is involved in the punishment will then be more severe, which includes hospitals, police departments, police cars, ambulances, any type of emergency vehicle, any type of emergency place will have a bigger and severer punishment due to the fact of the frontline workers. Here in Arizona, there's a class 4 felony which includes 1 year to 3.75 years of imprisonment. Up to 4 years probation and a maximum fine, max of $150,000. Another class would be a class 5, which includes 6 months to 2.5 years of imprisonment, 3 years of probation, and a max of $150,000 as well. A class 1 misdemeanor includes a max fine of $2,500, up to 3 years probation, and up to 6 months in jail. So depending on the property that was damaged, the damage to one will be all considered in the evidence that will then determine the punishment that is right for the person who did the arson. Like stated before, arson is not something to play around with, and arson should always be taken very seriously due to the damages and risks that it can bring onto one's property, oneself, the community. Anybody who is involved happens to be caught in a very bad spot. So arson is always to be serious, never to be joked about. Thank you.